The show is about to begin. Enjoy.
Michael O'Grady, I creativi.
All right. Well, it is recording right now, and I'll make edits and everything, and maybe I don't need to, and maybe I'll play the intro music at some point. But, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 4 of Michael O'Grady and the Creatives. Today, my guest, this is a part 2. I was a guest on his show for the first hour and a half. We had a lot to do with catching up. He reminded me very clearly that he was always the voice of reason. I was very lucky to have a best friend like this growing up. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show, Mr. Josh BAUER. What's up, dude?
Thank you. How's it going, man?
Oh, you know how it's going. It's going. We're hanging in with all the COVIDs of not doing anything, which I think is why there's a big spurt of new podcasts. I started a new one. You're continuing yours. We're all getting everything going and whatnot. So, no, it's been going good. And I mean, actually, you know, and I'm sure just like you, or if you're just like me, I have a blast with this. This is fun.
Oh, yeah.
You know, to kind of and plus it gives us a chance to catch up because we've always pretty much stayed in contact, especially when technology has gotten better, and especially now with this kind of stuff that we can do, and we can catch up and everything. And I think it's really, really, really cool because I think otherwise I don't think I would have done this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like this form a little bit more because like, especially I've been able to talk to people all across the country. I mean, you're all the way out in LA. I'm in Orlando, Florida. Right. So this has been really cool. The guy I'm going to have on Tuesday night, he's been a longtime fan of mine, and he's going to be on my show. He's up in the Northeast. I've had even friends in the Florida area, you know, we're still able to do our thing, but we don't have to be next to each other. So that's really what I like, because I did a podcast before, but we had to get guests into the house. We had to get them all set up. And I have a very tiny art room for this stuff. So this works way better. And I did a few weeks back, I did a podcast super show. So it was myself and 3 other podcasts that are in the Florida area.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was 4 screens and we just caused chaos. And it was so much fun. But we were all in the comfort of our own homes, and it worked out perfectly.
Right. Yeah, no, and sorry, I'm trying to adjust. And that's, yeah, get it, like, I don't know, the angles and the whatever you can see. Woo! Can't tell what's going on. My guitars are in the background because mine is you know, just like, well, that's what's, I was saying this on your show just a little bit ago, like, that's why I did Michael O'Grady and the Creatives, because I wanted to, you know, everybody's like, you need to find something, you need to have an angle, you need to do this. And I was kind of like, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to do like gimmicky type stuff. I don't really like that. But what I ended up noticing that I did like was I was like, well, I want to talk to creative people, not necessarily just musicians, but especially somebody like you, because we both grew up being very creative. And I think you were mentioning this in your show. You didn't latch on to playing music. But what you latched onto was drawing and being creative in that fashion. And the cool thing about all that stuff is what I don't think people realize if you're growing up and you're going to play music or you're going to do something, it's very helpful to have a team of people, whether they're your friends, and you did a great job of like helping us out with gigs when we were young. And then you would take it upon yourself to be like, look, I drew a logo. Look, I did a thing. You hit me up to draw my logo for this show. Yeah. And I was like, absolutely. I was like, that would be how cool and serendipitous that this all kind of comes full circle in a weird way. Not only that, this is your 4th show. This is my 4th show. I think that's bananas. That's ridiculous. But so that's cool. So, I guess to lean in since you're now a guest on my show and everything. Oh. It's weird because I know some of these answers or we've kind of already tackled it.
Right.
And if you want to brief it and kind of take it wherever you want to go, but what was it, I guess, exactly that made you go, I want to draw these things or these things, this type of art in particular, was there something, anything specific, a little nugget that hit you and made you go, I'm doing that?
I don't know, because it's, yeah, and you've known me for years, and I was drawing before I met you. I was drawing while we were hanging out here
Yeah.
and there. And that all through high school, I never really realized what you could do with a talent that I had.
Yeah.
Only in the past 10 years or so, I have come to understand what I can do and where I can go with it. I wish somebody would have said, and I don't know if I didn't meet the right people or what, but it would have been nice back then where someone went, oh, you can take that logo you doodled in your book that we just showed off,
Yeah.
and you can go and sell that to somebody.
Right.
So it really was never in high school. I figured that it was just a fun hobby and a little talent I had, and got to play with it in high school. And it was basically the thing that kept my hands busy and my mind entertained.
Right.
And like, especially like when we were all sitting around in your basement, I would get bored as hell because you guys were practicing and practicing and practicing. And I'm like, okay, I need something to do. And I started bringing the sketchbook around, or I would go and ask your mom, I'm like, hey, Louise, you got any paper or something that I can, start? I got an idea for this, or I got an idea for that. And I would start doing stuff. And your mom and your brother and a lot of your family would catch certain things I did. And they would try to tell me, but I don't think I really understood it. But they would go, this is really good. You could do stuff with this. I'm like, what?
Well, we were young at the time too, so you don't.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, especially in those days. Nowadays, everything is with technology and kids. You can, I think it's a lot easier now that I'm sure like you worked on like you did Photoshop with my logo, correct?
Illustrator.
Illustrator, sorry, my bad.
Oh, I wish I had Illustrator back then. I mean,
if that would have been a thing, who knows?
Done back then.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really kind of understood and got a kick into doing things once I moved to Florida. I was already kind of trying to get the artwork moving a bit more before I moved.
Right.
And then I moved down here in 2008, and we realized that there was comic book conventions down here. Back up in Northeast Ohio, back in when we were younger, there wasn't a lot of stuff like that.
No.
I can't even remember seeing commercials for any of them. There may have been some around, but I never really remember any of them.
Yeah.
Nowadays, especially in the Florida area, you pretty much, well, not right now, but before all this COVID shit, every other weekend there was at least one or two going on.
So it just so happened to be by chance that you moved to Florida and they have a mecca of conventions and things
they have
that
a
related.
big one.
Yeah, for you to be able to be like, oh my God, this is a perfect spot for me to live and do the thing that I want to do.
Yeah, because I started going to, it was MegaCon. It's the biggest one in Northeast, in the Southeast, and it's the biggest one, and one of the biggest ones in Florida. We have like a big three, and it's right here in Orlando. And I started going as a fan because I've always been into the comic book stuff. I've loved the movies and everything like that. So I started going as a fan, and we're walking around, and there's Artist Alley, and it is artists like myself, some in higher degrees of where they're at, some are just starting and everything like that.
Right.
And they can buy a table or two and they can show off their work, just like it's sitting here behind me. And I started talking to artists, and I go, how do you get into this? Is there a thing? Do you have to know a person? Do you have to do you have to sacrifice a goat? What goes on here? So a couple of artists were like super cool. They're like, here's how it goes. And they've laid it all out for me. And they're like, honestly, you just put in your stuff. Sometimes you have to get it reviewed. They have to kind of see what you do, and you'll get approved, and you pay your thing, and you're in. I'm like, that's it. They go, oh yeah, you just need whatever you're selling. You need to have a little bit of a build up for it. I'm like, okay. So after that one, I said, I'm gonna go to a comic book convention and sell my artwork. And my first one wanted to be MegaCon, and my wife's like, you're freaking insane. Don't go to MegaCon. That's the big boy. You got to do one before that. Because even when I moved down here, I was still a little timid around people.
Right.
And even to this day, like even right now, I'll go to a party and I'm very quiet in the corner. Unless it's like a bunch of people I really know. Like if I was hanging out with you and some people or what, like old people, I liven up then. But if it's just a group of people randomly, I'm over in the corner. But when I have my table in front of me and my art around me, I'm yelling at people to stop at my booth, going, "Where the hell are you going? Come back!"
You have that confidence of like, this is my thing, and you're proud of it, and you do have a reason to speak up or have a voice or whatever like that.
Yeah, so we got into the very first comic convention I ever did was Ocala Comic Con in uh, 2013, maybe 2012, 2013. And I went. I ended up getting a corner booth because I advertised so much for the show because it was their first show, and they noticed, and they're like, "Oh, since you advertised, you get this corner spot. And you can have 2 tables on us." I'm like, "Okay," and I set up and did my first weekend, and I was hooked. It was fantastic. It was awesome. And then I did that. Yeah, it would be right around 2013 because I've been doing this about 7 years now.
Wow.
And it took off to this whole new thing, and I started doing more superhero stuff and things to that nature. And then it's changed and been different every year from now on. And even now, right now, it's way different from back then.
Right. So you were able to come in and do something that's like, your booth is like your instrument, the conventions is like the show for me. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like that. That's like how you're thinking. And I'm surprised that you, I didn't know this, that you got started so, I guess, late, because in my mind, and my impression is that you've always been doing this. Like, in my head, it's just like you've always been doing this. So it's like you're a pro, but you're still kind of new at it, and you're still kind of, bouncing with the times changing and everything like that. And obviously there's, nothing for you to go out and do. You can't do the conventions, but you'd go out there, and people, they come in and they go, "Hey, I like this piece. I'm a big fan of Batman or whatever it might be." And they buy it off you. That's the whole idea.
Yeah. I go to, so everything that I do, that you see behind me are original paintings on canvas. And then I go and I take that canvas, I take high quality photos of it and turn it into prints. That's actually where Photoshop pops in. I go and I crop it down, I make sure it's straight, I tweak the colors, so when I go and print it, it looks just like the painting.
Right.
Trying to see if I have any around me. I don't have an actual painting of me, but so this is a painting I did for a charity event.
Oh, nice.
And it's from one of my favorite podcasts, The Mediocre Time with Tom and Dan. And I made the painting, donated that, they auctioned it off, and then I sold prints of it. So this looks just like the canvas. Sometimes it looks better because I tweak the colors a little bit more.
Right.
The colors come out a little bit sharper. But yeah, that was my focus for the past 6-7 years. And then, I've been to conventions all around Florida. I've gone to Lexington, Kentucky. I've gone to Savannah, Georgia. There's been a couple other, Georgia a couple of times to do these comic book conventions. And then over the past few years, I've had to change my tactics a bit because the convention scene has changed.
Oh, okay.
When I first got into it, it was early in the big, because we've hit this big boom of everybody loving comic book stuff.
Yeah.
When you and I were younger, it still wasn't cool to like comic book stuff. Yeah. It was lame to like Spider-Man and Batman and everything like that.
Right. Yeah.
And it was rough. And it was starting to get a push because we were getting movies like Spider-Man, X-Men.
Yeah.
So it was going more and more to people liking that stuff. And then when I moved down here, when you would go to conventions, my first 2, 3, 4 years maybe of from like 2013 on, it was the people that were really, oh shit, Brandon Sib just popped in.
Hi, Brandon Sib.
Hey, Brandon, how are you? Good to see you, sir. A lot of blasts from the past right now. It's crazy.
I know, that's awesome. I didn't know. Yeah, wow, that's funny. Did he write a comment or?
He popped in. I can see him because I'm watching the feed. So he just popped
I see.
In
I didn't see anything pop up. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah, that's the bad thing about B Live. It doesn't pop in when new people show up.
Oh, I see. Okay, gotcha. No worries.
So when I first got into conventions, people were there was those older people that grew up with the comic books themselves.
Yeah.
And they knew the mythology and the lore, and they had a very different love of it than modern people. You've got a lot more people coming to things that just love the movies and the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
And those people just want the autographs from the fan or from the movie people and things like that, or pop vinyl stuff, and they're not really wanting to pay for artwork as much as they used to.
Right.
So that's when about a year or two ago, some friends of mine talked me into doing live painting, and I started pushing that a little bit more, doing live painting sessions during their shows. During I would get pulled in for charity events. I actually did a album release party. I live painted the album cover one time.
That's awesome.
That was like my first couple
That's
months
so
of doing
rad.
this. The guy's mom.
What was the album?
It was for a he's a very talented young musician. His name's Landon Nolan. He's a local kid here in the Orlando area. He's getting up there into everything.
Yeah.
But it was his album, and we did it up in a restaurant called Divine Wine. They rented out the top area, and it wasn't like huge or anything, but it was very cool.
That's
They
awesome,
actually
though.
reached
I didn't
out
know
to
you did
me.
stuff like that. That's so rad.
Oh yeah, they reached out to me and said, she goes, "Hey, are you up for doing live paintings at other things?" I go, "Well, maybe. This is like my first couple months doing this. I'm
Right.
like, I haven't really thought about it." She goes, "Well, we're doing an album release party for Landon. It's his new album, and we would love for you to paint the album cover." I'm like, and you and I are both very familiar with album covers. We used to actually look at them, break them down when we were younger and everything.
Yeah.
But some are very complicated. Some are of the people, some are of this or that. So I'm like, send me a picture of the cover, album cover. She goes, "Okay, no problem."
Ooh.
She sends it over, and it's actually artwork done by an artist friend of mine from the convention scene.
Oh no! Wow. There you go.
Yeah, and he does this really cool wooden style stuff, and it was a raven with a heart clock, stopwatch clock thing.
Yeah.
And then it said Landon's name on it. I think it had the album name on it. And I'm like, actually, I could probably do something like that. We talked back and forth. I was like, can I put my own twist on it so I'm not just recreating what he's done?
Right.
Oh yeah, of course. So I went and did that kind of splatter style to it and everything.
Mm.
So yeah, I now can say I did an album release party.
That's really, and that's actually a really cool idea. Like, just as far as like you go to do, hey, we're doing an album release party, and while we're doing this, the artist is going to come and you're doing this from scratch?
I have it drawn up. Most of the time I have at least the concept drawn up on the canvas.
Like an outline of it? Yeah.
An outline. And then sometimes I've learned to go and Sharpie stuff and then put a cover of white onto it. Because when I was just doing the pencils, you would start painting and you would lose some of the detail.
You lose it, yeah.
And then I'm like,
where are we at?
Yeah, I'm like, so yeah, it's usually I do the drawings here at home, either on the computer or I sketch it out on paper. I get it projected onto the canvas, trace that out, and then it's
This is while the party's happening.
No, that's all before the party, and then once I'm at the party, I start painting.
Oh, that's what I meant. Yeah, sorry. So you start painting at the party while people are hanging out, either listening to the album or watching the band play live?
Yeah. So that time Landon was playing music live. He was on one side of the room and I was on the other. And I think we were both streaming just to have as many people, because you could still hear him while on my stream.
Oh, nice.
So we, and he and I I think he just turned 17, so he's quite a bit younger than me. But we had a good back and forth. It's not like you and I. It's definitely a lot cleaner. But he's a very cool kid, and he's very talented, very awesome.
What does he play? Landon Nolan?
Yeah, he's acoustic music.
Is he like country? Because he's got two first names.
Yeah, I know. And then like I didn't.
Isn't that how it always goes?
Working on the thing. His names are backwards. Landon and Nolan.
That's not his real name, is it?
It is his real name.
What? Wait, yeah. Landon and it's not verbatim, is it?
It's close though.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You can figure out a cool, wow.
I'll send him a link or send you a link of his music. He's really talented.
Cool. I'd love to check it out.
I worked with him and his family on a bunch of different things.
Oh,
We've done charity events together. We did we raised money for a police officer that was sick. I believe he had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So they contacted me. They're like, "Hey, a police officer." All I got first was, will you live paint for an event for a police officer? And I just feel your mom slapping me in the back of the head going, yes, you are. I'm like, okay, okay.
You don't
I
have to think
always
about it.
do.
You're just doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, they're like, you want to know what's wrong with them? I'm like, no, I'll be there. What do
Nope,
you
I'll
need?
be there.
How big of a canvas am
Dude,
I
I
doing?
can't tell you how many events and things that I've done that people go, what's this for? And I go, I don't know. And they go, where's it at? I'm like, I don't know. What time do you have to be there? I'm like, I don't know. What are you supposed to be doing? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know about you, but I don't do my research. And you're in a little bit different boat. I get to go play songs, or I get hired to do something. But the other thing is that I'm so focused on working on material. Right. I don't have the mental capabilities.
I am OCD as hell, so I need to know as much as possible. I'm like, okay, where's it at? What am I doing? How am I doing it? How much time do I have? Because the main thing is time.
Right.
My live painting sessions are usually between an hour and a half to 2 hours. Sometimes I go to a little bit longer. Very rarely do I go shorter, but I know I can pull something off really well in 2 hours.
But when you're doing that, you probably need to know every little thing to make sure that you don't upset the client and neglect on anything. So it's a little bit different. If I was in your shoes, I'd probably be doing the same thing.
Yeah, well, I even need to know like what the event is about or where we're at, because I've actually done live painting sessions at restaurants.
Oh, okay.
So I will go to a local restaurant, and actually, when we were doing my show, Alejandro popped in, and he is he owns Stefano's Trattoria, and it's over in about 20 minutes away from us or so, and it's a very nice Italian restaurant. I love the food. Oh.
Nice.
And I went over there quite a few times and live painted. Well, when I go there, like the first time I went, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna paint one of my trees, which is actually, let me see if I can do this right. See that tree back there?
Oh yeah.
That is one of my trees that I've created on my own. It's a mix of different styles.
Oh, nice.
And I do various sizes of them.
Looks like something out of Sleepy Hollow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
so
really cool.
I did that the first time I was there. He loved what I did so much, and he really enjoyed it. He goes, hey, when you come back, you can do something more of your style, like the comic book stuff or anything.
Right.
But even when I go back, I always try to do something that's a little bit more fancy. So like I kind of switch it up between like I do roses, I've done some vine things, some tattoo designs, but I always try to make it fancy. But then if I jump into the comic book or movie stuff, I did the movie Tangled. I did a scene where it's yeah. Have you seen that movie?
No.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about though.
Yeah, in the movie, there's this scene where it's a lantern scene, and all the these lanterns are coming up from the castle. I did that scene my own style with just the water, the castle, night sky, and the lanterns coming up at that restaurant because, yes, it was a Disney movie and it was my thing, but it was also fancier looking. So some people are just looking like, oh, he's printing a really pretty picture. They don't really know.
Right, and it's fitting for the theme of like what you're doing, or this is at the restaurants. Correct?
Yeah, so that would be at the restaurants. But
you're kind of fitting the vibe. You're playing to your audience. That's what's cool. Yeah, and they can figure out like, yeah. Just I mean, dude. I mean, like for me, like I'm always a big fan of that when people go like, see what I did there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That little touch.
Now, if I go and live paint at a Comic-Con with Hanging with Web Show, because they're an online YouTube channel that interviews local creators and everything, and has a whole following. So they'll go and get media booths at these Comic-Cons.
Right.
And they invite me to come on. I play co-host with the show. That's kind of how I've gotten so good at doing this, doing my show stuff, that I will go and I'll play co-host. And then for an hour or so, I live paint. And that's when I really do like a big comic book thing or something.
Yeah.
Because that fits perfectly there.
No way. That's awesome. That's so cool. And like that kind of happened like just by chance out of nowhere. They were like, hey,
So some friends of mine that I used to hang out with, they did their own Facebook show, and they were an acoustic music group, and they go around to all the different Florida houses. So they're called the Kitchen Killers. They're a group, 2-guy group, and they talked me into coming and live painting with them because I was having problems with my art and everything.
Right.
And you know, it just wasn't selling. So they talked me into doing live painting, and then after I worked with them for a while, it started growing into more things, and I got more confident and did, you know, live painted at comic book conventions. And then I kind of thought, well, it's like I almost kind of took a little bit of their thing, a little bit of like the Food Network, like diners, dives, and drives,
Oh, okay,
because
gotcha.
I
Yeah.
love food. I love eating food. I love trying food, and I love going to different restaurants.
Right.
So I thought, well, if I could go and live paint at a restaurant, have them pay me to come and do it, we can do something with the painting, give it away or whatever it is, and then I'll paint for 2 hours. I'll do an hour. I'll take a little break. We advertise the restaurant and everything, bring up some food, show that off, and then
Yeah.
I finish painting the rest of the hour. And it gives, so what it would be, it was showing me off to people. It was giving me places to live paint in. It was basically giving entertainment in the building of the restaurant,
Yeah.
and also getting them out to a new group of people that may never see them on social media.
Right. Yeah.
You know, and it was really cool. And I was trying to kick it off, and it just kept like not working 100%. I get little gigs here and there, and then of course COVID came and knocking, so it
Yeah.
just killed everything.
Dude, I know. That's, I mean, because especially for what you and I do and everything, there's a lot of, everything is completely upside down. Everything has changed dramatically to a point where a lot of people are like, a lot of people feel like, I hear two things. One is, when are things going to go back to normal? And then
Right.
and then other people are like, they're never going back to normal. Everything's going to be
Right.
different from here on out. And even if they sort of go back to normal, people are going to be sketched out with certain things. I tried to get a guest to come on my show, and they gave me a laundry list of reasons why they felt they couldn't do it. Respectively, I totally understand, and they have legitimate reasons.
Right.
Some of the things that they talked about, though, I was like, I don't really. So you get into this weird thing where not everybody's thinking on the same page. Some people are freaked out. Some people don't care. Like the difference with your show is everything's like online. Mine, I
Right.
actually have the guests come in, minus this because you're all the way in Florida.
But a little bit of a travel issue.
Yeah, so some people are like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not interacting with people I don't have to. And then some people are like, I need to interact. I don't give a shit. It's going to be okay, that kind of a type of thing.
Right.
But you did the logo, this was perfect timing to do something like this. Excuse me. And have you thought or gone more into that digital route? Because I know you can do your real life stuff. And yeah, you said people don't buy art anymore, which they really don't. It's a very, I mean, dude, out here in Los Angeles, you go take a piss at a coffee shop and you're in the bathroom, and above the toilet tank is a painting that is like, it's decent. I don't know anything
Right.
about art, but I would say it's decent. And you look at the bottom and it says like, painting by Miss Samantha Elliott Smith for $15,000. And you're like, who the fuck would pay? Like, that's a lot. Like, I'm like, there's no way it's worth that much. I don't think it's worth that much. And it's a weird thing, but that's like a real, like, people don't buy the actual art or support local artists. So have you like thought, oh, maybe I should do more digital stuff, do more Illustrator or whatever like that? Because are you still doing, when you do that, let me ask this, when you do that, are you still doing the art you want to do plus a different avenue? Or does it feel like, no, this isn't what I set out to do?
It's really weird. Hey, Samantha, how are you? Samantha Culver just popped in.
Hey, Samantha. We used to date.
Good to see you.
But
Good
we
to
were
see
like
you.
kids. We were like holding hands on the school bus when we were in 9th and 10th grade. Like, I like you too.
Yeah.
Will you be my girlfriend? Check box, yes, no, maybe.
Definitely, like I keep saying, definitely a bunch of blasts from the past in these two episodes. But so when I was already kind of burned out from the art and trying to get, because I've been trying for 7 years, trying to hit that spot where people pay attention to me and buy the stuff, and it's just been a lot of look at me, and
Right.
I'm never painting the right thing, or so I kind of was just in this like, I want to take a break moment, and then I was trying to take a break, and then everybody, like, as soon as I announced I'm taking a break, Everybody and their brother wanted something.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
And
That's exactly how
yeah,
it goes. Yeah.
so like in April, I had like every weekend booked of live painting things and everything.
Really?
And yeah, it was insane. I was doing some charity events. I was doing this and that. None of them were a bunch of like paying gigs, but it was at least getting me out there. And the live painting was fun, especially if I went out to places. I just was going out to paint and have fun.
Right.
And then the coronavirus happened.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going, because like it was you just see it going more and more and more. And I'm going,
Every like couple of hours it changed.
yeah. And, I'm looking at it. I'm like, people didn't have money to buy paintings before all this. I'm like, I heard every goddamn excuse of, oh, I don't have the wall space, or I don't have the money, or wow, and like you're talking about pricing. So the canvases you see behind me, all these skinny ones like this one, I charge 200.
Gotcha.
The bigger ones like Harley Quinn, it's hard to point things. This one, the big one,
Yeah.
that one's 300. I have people scoff at those prices.
Right.
And I'm like, come on.
Yeah.
So, I took that and I'm like, man, I just kind of like, all right, I'm done with painting. I'm done with painting for a while. Nobody's going to be able to buy stuff anyways. It just, so I was just going to take time off.
Yeah.
And then that lasted about a week. And I'm like, I have to create something. I have to do something. So I was working with an event. It was called CyberCon with Hanging with Web Show. And it was this big weekend event about a month or so ago. We put it on the same time MegaCon was supposed to happen.
Oh, okay.
MegaCon got pushed back. At that time, it got pushed back to June. Now it's got pushed back even farther. So
Because of Corona and all the news?
What's that?
Because of the Corona and all the news and stuff, it got pushed back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, because this was like getting revved up, and you just knew, and we just don't know when. Like right now, MegaCon, the official big MegaCon, is pushed back all the way to next year.
Yeah.
Because people are just too scared to do stuff still. So I got with Hanging with Web Show, and I knew we were going to be sitting around bored anyways. We had the weekend all set up to be at MegaCon all weekend. I was going to be live painting. We were going to do the show. I was going to co-host and everything like that. So I said, let's do something. Let's do an online thing. They turned it into this giant event. It was 3 days of 56 hours straight of nonstop streaming, with different creators, painters,
did you say
artists.
56?
56 hours straight.
Why 56?
Because that's the math they told me it was. We started at noon on Friday and then at 6 on a
because
Sunday.
I think of 24 hours, 36 hours, 72
Yeah,
hours. I'm like, where'd they come up with
apparently
56?
It was 56.
Okay.
So when we were getting into that, we needed a logo. They're like, hey, can you whip us up a logo? So I did that one. And then we were getting closer to the event, and Amelia, who was in earlier on my show,
Yeah.
she's an amazing cosplayer, and she didn't have a logo. And Garrett's like, can you, we were kind of talking back and forth, and I'm like, screw it. I had fun making this logo for the event. I'll make Amelia a logo.
Right.
So I went and made her a logo, and it came out really amazing, and everybody loved it, and it was super easy for me. Because logos used to not be that easy for me.
What's the logo so people can check it out if they listen to this?
You would have to go to, because I don't have anything on my computer. It's Amelia. No, hold on.
Or like I can include, I can include a link.
Yeah,
in my show when I post it up
Arts,
and everything.
Cosplay and crafts.
Say that again. I'm sorry, I was interrupting you.
Harley Quinn cosplay and crafts. God, I cannot read today.
So she cosplays as Harley Quinn specifically, or?
That is one of her main cosplays. That is what she's known for most.
Gotcha.
But she's also been Catwoman. She's been a
Awesome.
ton of different things. She is super talented. I love her to death. And we've worked together. She actually was the cosplayer for my Catwoman painting.
Oh,
you can see
nice.
that on BAUER Art.
Who
Facebook,
didn't have a
Instagram,
crush
all that
on
good stuff.
Catwoman or Harley Quinn growing up? And then you date some
sure.
chick who is exactly like Harley Quinn, and you're like, ah! You can't handle it because they're
Um,
just like, I'm crazy.
Yeah.
And
So
you're
I took
like-
a picture of her and um, I made it into a vector image and made it a logo of her. So I had her do her signature as Harley Quinn, and I added that to it, and it looks phenomenal. It came out really nice, and that kind of just kicked off this new bug where I'm realizing people like yourself. There's another guy. People need logos right now because
Yeah.
people are starting businesses,
Yep.
rebranding things. People need logos and graphic design stuff more than they need paintings right now.
Right.
I have done more logos in the past 2-3 months than I have ever, and I have sold more than I have ever.
So
Because of what's been going on.
So this the logo thing in the Illustrator is a big change for you, something that you haven't done before necessarily.
A little bit. So my wife will probably tell me it's been a few years. I went to school for it.
Oh, I didn't know
a few
that.
years back.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, I went to First Institute. It's a small, like, I don't want to say vocational school, but almost like that.
Right.
It was a cool little school, and my day job, I work at a sign shop in Apopka called Signature Designs, and I've been working for them for 8 years. So I've been dealing with Illustrator and this and that,
Right.
and learning it as I go with this job. And then I started playing with some stuff here and there. I went to school about 3 years ago for it, got even better at it, and then I've kind of just done it on the side here and there. Haven't gotten as much joy out of it as I did painting.
Right.
And painting was getting me more attention earlier. But now with the way things are, logos have been getting me more attention. I'm always shifting to the new stuff that I need to work with to try to keep attention towards me.
Yeah.
And it's just been because we can't really go anywhere either. You know, now Florida's a little bit more open up. But before that, I mean, we went through a good month where we were not going places.
Yeah.
And I needed to entertain myself.
Yeah.
So I've done a variety of different things. I've made logos here and there for people. All the logos you see of my stuff, all the graphic design stuff of any of mine, it's usually me that's creating it.
Right.
You've seen my car, right? The Batmobile?
No.
Oh, okay. Wait for this. So if you're listening to this and are not watching,
Yeah, for the people who end up just
watch
listening
it.
to this, there's a lot of stuff with this episode that you should go
So
online and check
actually,
out.
I can show you. Hopefully, it works with the video.
And
We'll
I'll
see
put
how
up
it works.
links and stuff like that so people can find it, and you can
let
harass
me
Josh
show
Bauer
you-
online on Instagram.
Damn phone.
Write him negative comments and be like, "Hey man, art should be free, man. You're not an artist.
Yeah.
You're a sellout." It's kind of like, dude, go ahead and
So-
show me that, and I got a quick anecdote for you on this.
This is the J. Bauer Art Batmobile.
What the fuck? Wait, you
It is
painted
a-
on your car?
This is all made out of vinyl. It is a 2020 Kia Soul, yellow Kia Soul.
That looks.
I got this last year. So the story is,
How do you do that?
I had to, huh?
How do you do that?
So I originally had another car, and I needed it was time for an upgrade. I wanted to get my Kia Soul back. That was my first car that I bought myself, was a Kia Soul. I upgraded to a bigger one, and then I was downgrading. So I wanted a red Kia Soul. My wife has this thing against red. We just broke her against the red cars.
You get pulled over more often.
You get pulled over more often. And in her line, they either break or catch on fire. So I wanted this,
Oh, that's funny.
or I wanted a red one. She told me no. She goes, get a yellow one. I'm like, why do I want a yellow one? Because I'm not yellow's not my favorite color.
Especially for
She
a
goes-
car. Sorry,
Yeah,
that's
she
a
goes-
chick color car.
She goes, you can
Well,
make
unless-
it a Batmobile. And I went, I can what now? She goes, I will help you make it a Batmobile. Now, her idea
I love
was,
that compromise.
I'll buy you some cute shit on the inside. And we'll add Batmobile stuff, and it'll look really cool. And then I took it, I'm going to take the whole car and make it a damn Batmobile.
There you go.
So I know it's
Oh,
hard to see. You can see all this stuff on
That's
Instagram.
so rad.
So this is I took the Batman design, the Batman logo,
Yeah.
and I turned it into my own style.
Right.
So all this stuff you see flying off the side
Yeah.
is different bats and
Yeah.
splatter paint because it's a mix of my style and then the bats coming out of it.
Yeah, that's rad. If anybody gets a chance, do you have this photo like on your Instagram?
Yeah, it's all on Instagram. You
Go to
can see
J
the
Bauer Art at Instagram and give him some likes and some love.
If you type
Slide
in,
into
if
his
you just search
DMs.
hashtags and you do hashtag J Bauer Art Batmobile, all the pictures for my car
Oh,
will
that's
pop
rad.
up.
There you go.
And then, like, I even got it. So I've hid different stuff in the Batmobile. Like in the bats here, there's different logos of different Batman. So there's like the Michael Keaton, or there's not Michael Keaton. He's in the inside. There was Batman Beyond, the New 52s,
Right.
and Christopher Nolan. And then, like, I'm trying to find.
Have you heard
freaking
about
picture
that
of the
thing
guy.
that they need to, is it Michael Keaton? They need to make a Batman Beyond movie and let him be Bruce Wayne
Yes.
again?
Yes.
Because he's at that
He's
perfect
the
age.
perfect age for it right now.
Oh, that would be so rad. That
So,
would be
like-
if they did a Batman
Oh.
Beyond movie and Michael Keaton was Bruce Wayne again, that would be the shit.
So on the back of my car, it says "Nana Nana 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 Batman." It has a little bit of bats. It has my J Bauer Art stuff. On the inside, I have there's some blank buttons on my car, and I have a button for oil slick, ejector seat, and speed. I now have a Batman pillow that says,
Dude, you
what
can
does
do
it
like
say?
custom paint jobs for like celebrities.
Well, now this is all vinyl. This is
What
no
does that
paint.
mean?
This is all so.
Because I know what vinyl is
Basically-
like a record player, but that's something different.
No, so at my job, vinyl it comes in big rolls, and it's basically a sticker, and you can cut. It comes in a big roll, a big sheet, and you can cut any design in it. So yeah, like you know how we were talking when I was making your logo that it had to be vector.
Right.
Now that your logo is vector, I can take everything except for the paper picture, and I can make vinyl stickers to put on cars or
Oh,
anything.
so the Batman logo and all the black on the yellow car is vinyl.
All of it's vinyl.
You
So
didn't
technically,
paint
I
the
could go and
car.
peel it off later.
If you wanted to take it off, you could.
Yeah.
How does that? I mean, you live in Florida, so I'm assuming that holds up with the weather not too bad.
Yes, because you have to get the right vinyl. So my vinyl that I bought, the roll for a 10-yard roll was like $200 and some dollars
Okay,
to do
yeah.
my whole car, and it's supposed to last at least 7 years.
Before it can start peeling off and being affected by the
Before-
weather?
Exactly.
Wow. That's so cool,
So-
though.
I have turned this is basically a walking, talking advertisement for my artwork and my logo creation.
Yeah, exactly.
I have made an art sale because of my car.
Dude, have you ever heard of Angelique?
Sounds familiar.
Angelique is this like older lady now who thinks like she looks like a Barbie, but like, you know, if Barbie aged. And she has this hot pink Barbie, like I think it's a Lamborghini or something like that. And it's like the only one in LA. And if you see it, it's because she married like some rich dude and he like put up billboards for her on Sunset like years ago, like in the 80s or the 90s.
geez.
And every now and again, if you're in LA, you'll see this pink Barbie car, and that's Angelique. So it's like
Nice.
she's a walking advertisement everywhere. Everybody kind of knows about it.
So with all this, with this car, so like the whole graphic design stuff is kind of like kicked off in craziness. So my wife just bought a car, and she bought a this is why I'm a little funny, because it's kind of a funny story. She bought a red Kia Soul now. The reason she bought one is I finally talked her into liking red. Told her to give it a try. You know, it's a brand new car. So she got a 2020 Kia Soul, and with every Batman car, you need a Harley Quinn car.
There you
So
go.
I'm turning her car into a Harley Quinn mobile. Hers is a little bit more subtle, not as crazy as mine, but
Let me
I
see
just
this.
finished designing it. So, hold on, there we go. So on the bottom this is all going to be on vinyl like mine. So I created Kayla her own Harley Quinn logo,
That's so
which is
rad.
the back piece.
Yeah.
And then on the bottom, it's a little bomb. It says Harley Quinn. And then on one side, it's going to be the mallet and a bazooka with some hearts and diamonds behind it. On the other side is
Is that your car in the
baseball bat
background,
and
by the
mask.
way?
Yes. And then on the hood, I designed that.
Oh, that's so badass.
And then on the back, it's gonna say, "Sweetie, get mommy's bazooka." So now
Oh,
her and
that's
I,
so
'cause
dope.
this is the cool thing with my car too. I can take it to different events, shindigs, whatever's going on, and my car is basically a giant advertisement for
Right.
things. And I can get, I'm trying to get it where I get paid to bring the car too. So like when we were doing before all this went down, I was actually I was doing it for charity, but there was this big charity event, and it was all Batman themed, and I was gonna live paint, and then my car was gonna be parked in the front
Right.
and be a part of it. So it's turning into this insane craziness that I keep doing more and more things and building up. And now I'm doing logos. I've done so I can actually I found the logos since we can show these off now. So here's Amelia's logo.
Oh, I seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is directly off her one of her profile pictures, and everything is made up in vector, and I made it in a logo, and
That's
then that's
so
her
awesome.
signature. And all I told her was, "Hey, send me your signature. I'm making something for you.
Yeah.
Send me your signature if you were Harley." She goes, "Okay." So she sends me this, and I recreate it, and I send it off to her. She goes, "Oh my god!"
That's so cool.
And she absolutely loved it. So she made that into stickers now, and it's on mugs and everything. So then she's like us. She's bored. She needs something to do. She's
Sure.
not working, not conventions, anything. So she's gonna make an online show, and it's gonna be it's called The Haunted Harlequin, and it's gonna be her show where she talks about paranormal stuff. Brings on paranormal type people and everything. So
Right.
she needed a logo that was close to her brand, which I've already created for her, but towards this haunted stuff. So I
That's
designed
that
this
one.
for her.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's almost like Scooby Doo meets Harley Quinn.
Right, yeah. It's just got that great cartoon house and the cartoon looking like vibe.
Yeah.
Like something you would see in the original Batman cartoon. It has that vibe to it.
Right.
Yeah, that.
And then this is, so I've done stuff like CyberCon. This was the one that I actually repurposed an old logo that we had for our group and
Yeah.
turned it into the CyberCon one.
Oh, that's awesome.
So like this, it represents everything that was in it. So it has microphones for musicians and comedians
Music
and actors,
notes,
movie
the
stuff,
mask.
masks.
Oh, that's so dope.
And then I even designed my own logo for
Right.
Back Talk with Bauer.
Back Talk with Bauer. Check out his show, people.
Yes.
If you don't,
And then I'm sure you
We'll
know
find
this
it.
logo here.
that is my favorite thing ever.
So I can actually hear, there's a better version. Let's see how it works. Because I have control of everything.
Oh, he has control. That is so cool.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, yeah. Yeah,
So-
you whipped that up for me. You were like, hey, because I whipped up a drawing myself, and I was just thinking I wanted to be creative and do something, and for some reason I ended up doing it. Like, I know where it subconsciously came from because everybody was going like, that's the Blink-182 logo. But also I was like, do people forget that's also Nirvana had that logo.
Right.
In a similar
I'm going to
sense.
make this big real quick so everybody can see it real quick.
That's
and
what
then
she said.
We can still talk, but this will be the main thing.
I don't know if you caught that or not.
What was that?
You said, I'm going to make this big real quick. And I was like, that's what she said. I need to grow up.
No, you don't. That's just
You're right.
so funny. I don't
No,
care.
but I loved what you did with it because, I mean, this is like what I drew. And you did such a good job of, and if anybody is out there and anybody listens to this and watches this, I will say, you're obviously easy to work with. And you're very like understanding. And like, I think a lot of people, when it comes to this stuff, the only thing that made me skeptical about this at first was, because we haven't seen each other in such a long time, and I don't know how you are and you don't know how I am, I always get weary of working with people that are friends because I'm like, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings if I don't like something, or I need to give like some criticism back and forth. Not that it was like, you know, anything was like ever bad with the first draft. It's not that, but
No.
I will say, but it made me feel comforting to go, like, we worked it out. And so if anybody ever needs like anything from Josh, you should go to him because he'll whip it up for you and you can go, hey, here's what I like about it. Here's what I don't. And he's like, all right, here you go. Like, let's adjust this and everything. And especially being in the creative world that we're in as a musician, as an artist, as a creative person, you have to be thick-skinned and flexible and know that you can, and you're really good at being like, hey, I'm going to work with you on this to get what you want, like anybody, like any artist should, because some people, I have had unfortunate incidences where they're like, well, you don't like what I do, you can fuck off. And that's their thing, and that's totally fine and everything. But no, you did a great job with coming up with that. The only thing that threw me off at first, that I bummed me out, that I was like, like, because the overall first impression got ruined because of, you wanted to do the skull eyes. And I was like, oh, no, it looks like a pumpkin. And then I was like, that's not good. I was bummed because I wanted that to work. Right. And I remember you were talking about like that smirk, that look of like with the eyebrow and everything. But I was like, well, good news is we can use that for Halloween. Yay.
Yeah.
And,
well, and that was like, because, you know, with you, I know you personally. We've known each other so long. So when I was looking at it, I'm like, this has got to show a little bit more of O'Grady with that you've always just had this look where I know something's going to be trouble. And I'm like, I can do this with the eyes and kind of bring those in.
Yeah.
And it didn't work. As soon as I switched it over to the oval eyes that you had originally, I'm like, okay, it looks even better.
Yeah.
And I totally agree with that. And we're definitely making a Halloween edition.
Oh, for sure. Because that looked rad as hell. And plus, too, it's just like, I think I sent you a photo. Like, to me, it's the Nirvana logo. It's like Blink-182 because the arrows. But also, there's those emoji arrows that I found interesting for some reason. The tongue coming out like Rolling Stones. And then there's, if anybody's a Green Day fan, if you look up Uno Dos Tres, they're like Billy Joe's Uno album. He's like this. And the X's are over all their eyes, but it was that kind of a vibe. I like that cartoon comic book, but also punk rock. It got thrown together, and it's like chaotic, but there's like a method and a madness. It's like, and also too, like if you know, like you probably, I don't know, do you do any like Easter eggs or fun things with your art?
Sometimes I do when I can fit them in there. Logos, not so much. You know, that's why like shooting for trying to get the eyes that you know, how I was talking about. That's kind of a little bit of that Easter egg I was trying to throw into.
Right.
Some of my paintings I've
that's
done.
A real egg shape
here and
eye.
there, you can find them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta watch with logos because people want their specific stuff. They gotta make it look like they.
That's
exactly
true.
They
yeah,
want.
that's a different. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, also just like fun thing. I mean, also an Easter egg with mine is that you. How could you not do this? Is when you wrote my name out, and instead of putting the apostrophe, you put the shamrock in there. I was like, there you go.
Yeah,
like that's.
Yeah, I had to put a shamrock in there somewhere because I knew, you know, it's always been around since we were younger, and I even have quite a bit of shamrock stuff. And the Irish stuff.
When somebody goes, my favorite thing somebody ever said to me once was, they go, "O'Grady, are you Irish?" And my friend goes, "The only way Michael O'Grady could be more Irish is if his name was McShaughnessy O'Irish McIrishman." Like, it's an Irish enough name. Like, yeah, he's Irish. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I stole some of it from you when I was hanging out with you and your family so much because I have so much different Irish stuff and hats and shirts and you know, the music and everything. I'm like, I think I just acquired it when I hung out with the family.
Are you, what is BAUER, by the way?
BAUER is German.
Should I have known that? Is that an easy one to figure out? Wait.
The only reason I knew it is because my cousins knew it, and I guess it means little farmer. I'm like, great, that's awesome.
Oh, that's right. I mean, like, oh, that's so funny, little farmer. You're like, what does that mean? Like, why would you? You're like, hey, I'm the little farmer. Like, you got your big farmers. I'm the little farmer. I'm like, Mom and Pop, I care more about you. I'm not like those conglomerates. I always found it funny that your mom's last name is BAUER, or was which way is it? BOWER?
Hers is BOWER and mine is BAUER.
Like, what are the? It's like as if back in the day your parents were like, "Hey,
we can make a super BAUER."
Like, what are the?
How annoying that was in school, though.
Oh, dude, I can only imagine.
And I can't even imagine like nowadays.
Wait, what's her BAUER? Sorry.
What's that?
What's her BAUER? Is it German as well?
I have no idea. I don't think she's ever really looked into it.
Oh.
But probably German.
Yeah, probably.
But she would try to, you know, certain times she would come and pick me up and go to sign me out or whatever. And they're like, oh, you spelled the last name wrong.
Right.
No. Well, we spelled his last name wrong. No. And you got to sit there and explain. One BAUER met another BAUER, and they made a little BAUER, and we went with Dad's last name. Oh, that shit, like
Oh,
for
how
years, years.
confusing you brought up into that world. It's like when parents name their kids. I mean, this isn't but it's annoying, I think, when they purposely are douchebags by naming their kids something ridiculous and it's spelled ridiculous and you don't know how to pronounce it, you don't know how to
Right,
say it, and they get mad at you like you should have known better.
right, right.
And you're like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've never met the kid. Like, if it's like spelled, I'm trying to think of like, because we get some there was this one kid. He was actually a really nice kid, and he's an adult man now. But when he first came to School of Rock, he goes, "My name is Dove, D-O-V, no E," and his name was D-O-V, and I was like, "You motherfucker, you're gonna be so high maintenance. I know it. You're gonna be a pain in the ass." Because it's just like it's a name like that, but I mean, yeah. But what were we gonna do? We're born in this world. But no, I always thought that was cool. I always remember that about it. Anyway, we're getting off.
Oh yeah.
We're getting off topic.
We've been doing really well. That was like the first time we really tangented.
We did stay on point very well, actually. And I'm so mad. I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna take a quick bathroom for like 2 seconds.
All right, you go first, and then I'm gonna go because I have to.
All right, there we go. I know. Well, at the beginning I was dehydrated. And I didn't have to go, and then I hydrated, and now my body's like, we have to go, because we're sitting down and everything. Sorry, guys. I'll maybe edit this out. I don't know. Hold on. 1 second.
Well, and this is also our, we're going on to almost 3 hours straight. We took a 10-minute break. So, yeah, it's been very busy. Supposedly, we have 4 people watching, which I believe one is me and one is my wife. So I'm not sure who the other 2 people are, but hello. If you are just tuning in, we are actually recording part 2 of a 2-part thing of it's a podcast super show. The first hour, actually hour and a half, almost 2 hours, was Back Talk with Bauer, my show. We are now doing the second show, which is Michael O'Grady's show, Michael O'Grady and the Creatives podcast. You will be able to catch everything in their respective YouTubes and Instagrams and all of that stuff. But I highly suggest you check out episode 1. O'Grady and I talked a lot about back when we were younger and hanging out and having all kinds of stuff. Oh, Samantha's still here. Hello, Samantha. But yeah, we talked about growing up together and in the shenanigans. We're actually going to do a part 2 later in June because we didn't even get into the stuff he's doing with there's stuff out in LA, the North of Nine, the School of Rock stuff, and what he's up to now with the podcast. So there is a ton of stuff we haven't even gotten into because we were talking too much about good old times and growing up together. So yeah, it's I actually have another picture to show O'Grady here in a little bit that my wife brought in earlier. Scottish bow maker or Old English for someone who lived in a cottage. See, they're all lame. They're not even cool. Yeah, terrible last names. Terrible. My ear is killing me. I gotta switch to the other ear after I come back. Oh God. But please do me a favor if you're watching this and if you're watching from anybody's side, support the other side. If you're one of my fans, please go check out Michael O'Grady. You can find him on any social media. He's an amazing musician. He's once things start bigging back up, he's gonna be in some acting stuff. He's gonna be playing music again. He's got his podcast now. His podcast is really interesting too because he talks to people that are in the music industry, the acting industry, all the LA type people. So the first episode I was listening to, he was talking to some one of his musician friends, and they were talking behind the scenes stuff and things to that nature, and it was really cool stuff, and it was really interesting to me. So make sure to check out his show.
Yeah.
I was talking all kinds of terrible things about you.
I figured
All
that
right,
much.
I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick. I'll be back.
All right, the little farmer is off. You people, you people over there on Josh's land, who's ever still in our little comment section, if you guys want to talk to me real quick, I would love to talk to you. Let's see here. What do we got? We got Kayla and Samantha. I don't know if you guys are still there. Probably. I don't know. But yeah, if you're just joining us, this is the second half of the 2-hour, well, it's turned into a longer mashup, but of Josh's show, Back Talk with Bauer. If you guys get a chance and you want to check out his show, it's all on YouTube and everything. Make him look cool. And he is my 4th guest, my first time doing this over the web and everything. So it's been a lot of fun catching up with him. if you get a chance, check out his artwork, especially if you're in the business of doing something creative right now, like a lot of us are that are affected by the COVID-19. Whether you're doing a podcast or whether you're a band or whatever, he can whip you up a great logo, any kind of artwork, anything kind of digital, and he's back now. Damn, you pee fast, man.
That's how I roll, man.
I peed like I had a bladder of like a Clydesdale horse. I was like, how is this? I also kind of messed up. I woke up late today and I didn't eat well. I had a banana. That's about it. Because I had to teach lessons and my body is just like, again, like I think I was saying before, because of all this, subconsciously, my mind is just like, we don't have to be up. We don't have to hear an alarm clock. Screw it. And it's a little annoying that way. But I wanted to ask you too. So now that everything is like, you're affected, you're changed, about what you're going to do with work. Do you think this is something that you're going to maybe go more into? Because, I mean, I'll tell you one thing off the top of my head, if I can pitch you an idea to think about, since you do all the graphics and the designs and everything, something that people always really want to look dope, especially for musicians in LA, and probably musicians everywhere. People love to get a great lyric video together for their YouTube, for when they post a song.
Oh, okay.
Can you do anything like that or get into that where you make like a graphic, you make it look dope, make it look cool? It doesn't have to be like too fancy, but like that I remember I was in a band and that was a big thing. They were like, let's make the lyric video look cool so it's not cheesy and cheap. But, I mean, are you thinking you're going to move more towards the Illustrator, electronic, that kind of stuff?
I think so.
Because, I mean, can't you just, like, paint some shit and then just take the photos of it, and that's how you can kind of blend the two worlds or whatever?
Maybe. Yeah, I could always bring in the painting because I would love to do album covers.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Yeah, I would love to do those. I actually... do you remember BAUER, Matthew BAUER?
Yeah. Every time I go back home, I catch him at the bar.
Yeah, so
he's always there.
Roses of Rafferty, his Irish band.
Yeah.
My brother's actually in that.
Oh, wow. What does your brother play?
He plays a drum thingy. He holds a handle on one side and then he drums, I think. Or he plays little drums. I can't remember. See how much I know about
a
the
little
music
drum
stuff
thing.
Still?
He's just like, we'll give you the washboard. See how you do that for a year.
Because I think he sings some of the parts, and then he plays some kind of drum thing.
He sings. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's rad.
It's really cool. They do a really good job. But like I did their album cover years ago, and I really love doing that.
So this is Jesse, right?
Was that?
This is Jesse, your brother?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
they're all still in Northeast Ohio and everything?
Oh, yeah. They still all live up there. And, Jesse just got his own place with his girlfriend and a friend. And then Corey, the youngest one, he was out in Texas for a while, I think learning how to fix or repair diesel engines or something like that.
Whoa. There you go.
Something big like that. My wife probably remembers better than I do.
Yeah.
But he just came back from Texas and got a good new job. So they're still out there. I keep trying to talk one of them into moving down here or closer to here.
How old is Corey now?
Corey is 21 now. 21, dude, almost 22.
I remember hanging out with you, and that kid was a baby. He was a little tiny scooting around. I mean, that's so funny. That's so crazy. It's making us old now.
They're both taller than me now.
How'd that happen?
My mother's this short.
And their mother's taller, right? Because they're there.
I think they got more of because my dad's shorter, but his siblings are all very tall.
Oh.
So they got that right gene.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's always the thing when you go back with family. You're like, who's taller, who's fatter, who's shorter, who's skinnier, who's bigger, or whatever like that. You know what I mean? Everybody, it's always like a competition of this, that, and the other thing. My brothers, it was cracking me up. Like I was home, and not to toot my own horn or anything, but I went back home and Mackenzie said something along the lines of, he goes like, he's like, I don't know why, like my friends, they're like, your brother's hot, your older brother is da-da-da. And I go like, dude, that's the same shit I had with Joe. Every friend chick of mine that I'm trying, they're like, your older brother is so cute. And I'm like, damn. And I'm like, but that's how it goes. Like, oh, your little brothers are cute, your older brother's hot. And I'm like, well, what about me, man?
Yeah.
You know, here I am making faces and shit like that. Being an idiot. No.
So what I would love to do the music video things like that. The other thing I wanted to try to get into, and I would have to learn After Effects. A lot of this, like doing the music videos that you're talking about, and what this new thing I want to do,
or like the lyric videos.
I have to learn new stuff, the lyric stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's After Effects. So basically, I could take your logo that I've created and make it animated. So
Right.
like the paper could pop in, the face would pop out, the letters pop into another spot. So I definitely want to start playing around with that, and so I could take your logo and other logos I did and go back to you guys and go, hey,
yeah,
I can do this and this and this for you,
right?
And you know, add more to my my arsenal, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, well, because you're in an amazing position right now, honestly, because people are going to be doing so much things online now with content, and especially for, you know, musicians. I know for me, like, I mean, I'm doing this show now, and I'm doing it all pretty hands-on, like myself.
Right.
But when you're in a band, it's kind of the last thing you want to think about is that stuff. Or you think about it, but you're like, I got to write the songs. I got to go perform. You take care of all that stuff, make us look cool, that kind of a type of thing. So I think, yeah, if that's something you want to do, you could, that's what's cool about what you do. It seems like there's a never-ending marketplace for you to go, oh, I can do this, so I could do that, I could do that. You can cherry pick and kind of just go wherever the weather takes you.
I could do business cards. I could do flyers. I love logo creating the most because it's basically building that beginning part of a brand.
Like from scratch?
Yeah, and you're kind of setting this tone. And logos are what get noticed the most and seen the most. Like cards are cool and everything, but they're always kind of a little bit alike. You know, a logo, you're really like your logo and the CyberCon logo are very different. You could tell they're kind of the same style a little bit, but they're very different things. Amelia's stuff looks a little bit different. I'm talking to I may be working with a guy that just emailed me, and they do. I still fully don't understand what they do, but he's emailed me the logo style or the logo he wants and the ideas he wants, and it sounds really cool. And then the style they wanted is almost like those old school Navy tattoos.
Yeah.
So
I think those are called
traditional.
traditional.
So I'm gonna see if I can do that.
You mean like traditional tattoos, like sailor tattoos, like anchors, swallows, all that shit?
Yeah, it's that style of artwork that
I know.
They want this specific logo.
It's.
But yeah,
I think they just call them. I think it's literally called like traditional tattoos, traditional styling, like something like that. It's like I know exactly what you mean. It's a very it's a very specific
lines,
type.
Very bold colors.
Right. Yeah,
So,
like my tattoos are like the opposite of that, where it's like mine's more realism. I think would be the term. But those are, it's that 50s, 40s leather jacket, like an anchor or a skull, but it's like, I don't want to say cartoon. Was cartoon the right word?
It's a type of cartoon. It's like a tattoo cartoon.
Did you ever hear the history of that with the those tattoos of what they mean? Have you ever...
I think I have.
It's really cool. They used to really mean a lot as far as like their rankings, as far as being if they spent several 100,000 hours out at sea, they would get the swallow like here. If they had if they doubled that, they'd get the next one. Anchors was this, anchors, or you know, whatever. I don't know. I can't remember it off the top of my head, so nobody quote me on that. But they actually used to mean something, and then like we've adopted. Just doing them for the sake of whatever, but like those old sailor tattoos, same thing with like a pea coat. That's where that comes from. I don't know if you know that. This is my history lesson of the show. Yeah. Yeah, pea coat, like a Navy pea coat. That belonged to like the Navy if you were like a sailor. I think my Uncle Jimbo, he's got one. And it actually, yeah, it was like that kind of a thing. But no, that's really cool. Like, because then you can, I mean, yeah, man, like I know you were talking about like doing all the paintings and stuff like that, which is rad and that is awesome. And I did even like pay an homage to you with my little doodle drawing that I'm doing for everybody.
Yeah, I love that. That was really cool.
I had to do like the Harley Quinn jester thing.
Yeah.
Had to do a little alligator for Florida. Had to do that.
What was the water droplet thing?
It's just rain.
Okay.
I figured because it rains so much there.
Right.
And I just kind of, when I whip these up, I don't know about you, but like creatively, this might be a good thing to get into is I don't think about it too much. I think I have to kind of just let it. I don't know if you do the same. Do you have a game plan? Or do you just kind of like, yeah, it's almost better that way because then you're just like, let's just see if this works. And then take that away, put that back. It's like writing a song where you're like, if you overthink it, you'll kill it.
Right.
You got to know when to also know when to leave it alone.
Yeah. Yeah. So
how hard is that?
Every artwork, every painting, every logo is always a little bit different.
Sure.
A lot of times I come up with ideas because I have the day job at the sign shop, and there's a lot of times where I'm doing repetitive stuff, so I can do it basically in a robot mode.
Yeah.
And my brain's kind of off. And when my brain's off, that's usually when I'm coming up with painting ideas, designs, or whatever. So I'll at least come up with a concept, or I'll come up with something, and I either sketch it out real quick or write down the idea. And then other times, like sometimes just stuff hits me out of nowhere, and I've come up with a design or something like that of like Amelia's logo, that first one I did. I always seen her as Harley. I'm like, I bet if I find a good picture of her, I can do it all in vector and created a quick logo, and it should look pretty awesome. And it did. And it was just me making the shapes out of all these little things. You use this little pen tool and you make the shapes, you cut things out here and there, and then all of a sudden it's her and it looks just like her. Yeah. And it's always learning something new too, like especially these last few logos. Like your logo was learning a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I had to figure out,
I was a little picky about it.
Well, your paper background was interesting
to figure that out.
Yeah, because I created the color and the lines myself, but you're like, it's too pretty. And I even agreed with it. I'm like, how the hell do I make wrinkles in vector?
Yeah, I remember talking about that. Yeah.
So I went and there's different websites that designers use that you can grab. It sometimes it's free, sometimes you have to pay for it, but it's royalty free, like royalty free music and stuff.
Right.
So you can use it in whatever you need to.
Yeah.
And I went and grabbed a crumpled up paper, put it in the right part of the layer, so you still had the color, but you saw the lines too, and then it was all wrinkled.
That was, as soon as you showed me, I was like, wow, this is, because it's a very, for me, all that stuff, and for everybody out there listening and checking this out, I mean, as far as art, and whether you're making music or you're creating film, that's why people, like my one buddy works with DPs and cinematographers, because that stuff is so important because it gives you a vibe. It makes you feel a certain way. And for even me, when I write stuff down or I write a song idea or I'm coming up with something, I have to write it on legal yellow pad paper.
Right.
It's just something inherently in me. And I wanted people to kind of see this logo as, a lot of the aspects are familiar. Like some people are like, looks like the Blink-182 logo. And I'm like, yeah, don't you like Blink-182? We all love Blink-182. That's the kind of vibe I'm going for. We like that band. We like that music and that vibe, whether it be punk rock or rock and roll. You did the same thing when you made the logo for like the Double Cherry Bar or the Mojo Lounge. It had a vibe to it. It gave you a thing. It made people go, it's almost like a comforting feeling. Something familiar, something that you're used to, something that you've had, I remember when we were kids and you saw the thing and the stuff. And that's what I wanted to kind of do with the logo. and you did a great job with that. Everybody has just been like, they love it because I think you saw that one comment on my Instagram. They're like, "Did you do that?" And I was
Right.
like, "Well, I came up with the original idea of just this is what I want it to look like, but you brought it to a whole nother level to where it's we look professional now." You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the cool thing with, and I, I basically had to teach you some stuff. That's always the fun and interesting thing is trying to educate somebody on the logo design, because there's so much with graphic design that people don't understand,
Right.
and how things need to work. And you're like, well, can't we just take a picture of it and make it a thing? I'm like,
no.
Technically, yes, you can.
You could, but
you could.
But here's the problems. This is what
look
you know
good?
about, yeah. Because you're providing a service that it's like, I don't know what I'm doing, you do. That's why I need you. That's it.
Yeah, and that's why I had to break it down for you. It's like, okay, yes, we can make it a photo for this part and this part, but and you want to, and I always try to save people money down the road.
Sure.
And that's where I'm always, I always have to kind of fight a little people here and there. It's like, I don't mind doing this part now because you're already paying me.
Right.
Or there's already money exchanging. So if I do this now, you don't have to pay either me or somebody else again a few years, 6 months, a year down the road.
Right.
So like right now, your vector image, your logo, you could take, and all we have to do is take the paper out of the background and we can put it on t-shirts.
Right.
You could put it on mugs. You could put it on this, that, whatever we need to. You're good to go.
What is that? Let me stop you right there. What is, for people who don't know, or maybe people who are getting into this, what does that mean, vector image? In as easy layman term as you can put it.
Yeah, see, I know how to do stuff. Explaining it is the other
It's
thing.
always the toughest thing. It's like when I teach a song, they're like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't know. I just do it.
A vector image, basically, you have all the, so if you're looking at O'Grady's logo here, we have all the individual parts to it. Like a JPEG or a PNG is a flat image. You can't take it apart. A vector Illustrator file is I can take this logo right now.
We can make different versions.
I can delete the background and we can have all that. So like if you're looking at my Batman shirt, right?
Right.
All this is different vector shapes that all sit on top of each other to make this logo.
Yeah.
So when the person went to make it looks like I'm touching myself. This is there's your
oh my God. When I touch the logo, I can feel the imprint of the Batman.
I hope when this is up on Facebook in like a couple of days that people just see us both going like this. What the shit did I just
What are you watching? Oh my God. There's like no volume. It's
But
I touch myself when no one's around. Yeah.
Oh God. So you would break this down into different, like your black color would be one screen, the whites would be another screen.
Right.
So you would go and hit it with the black, and then you would go and hit it with the white on top.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too, so you can pick and part, dissect it however you want, whether it be for a t-shirt, a mug, a sticker, things that are going to work for different surfaces and how they're, because also too, as soon as you brought up the t-shirt thing, I was like, dude, if we took and made, for me, I like those rock and roll t-shirts. You could take the logo and hollow it out and just make it either black or white and nothing else. And that's right there, and you would go, I know that. Mm-hmm. But that's what you mean by it's the vector image, so you can dissect it, pull it apart, do whatever, make it a different color, flip it around, do this, do that. Things could be a little bit different as you, as the creator, you have control to go, oh, this is how we would do it for a t-shirt. This is how we would do it for, one of the problems I got to talk to you about is I got to get my YouTube banner. YouTube's weird.
YouTube is a pain in the butt.
Oh my God, the way they have it set up, YouTube, I love you guys, but here's the thing, also I'm not that smart, so that's another.
So here's how YouTube works. The last I knew, I may have to update it a little bit. So the way you have boards set up for that you do the artwork in.
Right.
So you have a board like this for YouTube, and the way they have it set up, usually say you have your Facebook cover image. Yeah. You just put up a picture and then Facebook crops it for you. So you can move it up
Right.
and down, left and right, and that's where you have it. YouTube said, oh, that's too easy. Go F yourself. Here, this is how we're going to do it. And I have a setup thing that is, so you have a board this big, but you have to have your image in this exact
Yep.
spot right here.
Yeah, and you have
And
no way of
you have to have
adjusting
all-
it. I know.
If it's a little bit up, a little bit down, you won't see it and it won't upload.
Yeah, I know. I ran
So
into
I'm
that
more
problem.
than happy to help you with the YouTube
Yeah,
one, 'cause
I was trying to
know
do
how
it.
annoying it is.
Because it said, because one of the things that happened was they were like, well, we recommend. Somebody named Terry wrote, YouTube banners are a curse. They're tough. They're
Yeah.
not easy. But yeah, I tried to do it, and it was like, we recommend this size. So I took your image and I resized it off of. There's a great website I did to do the thumbnails for YouTube called
okay.
Canva, and I started doing
Okay.
that because I wanted my YouTube thumbnails to look semi-decent and not trailer trash. And I was like, oh, I'll just resize it there. And I did that, and then it uploaded, but it still doesn't sit the right way. It's okay for right now, but I'm like, we got to get it. Like, so we're all kind of like learning this like new boat of like, you know, making
yeah.
stuff and whatever like that. And again, like this is the reason why I wanted to do this podcast, was because I wanted to sit down and, you know, have another creative outlet and talk to creative people to see how you've been like affected from the coronavirus. I mean, it's of course, with the families and the people who have suffered from it, that's absolutely terrible. But we are in a really, I think, that not enough people are taken advantage of, is that we are in a golden era of technology and creative art. Because back in the day, you had no control of what you wanted to do as an artist, as a creator, as a musician, whatever. You had to answer to big companies. You had to, if you wanted to see the band that you love, you had to go, like not that long ago, you had to go to that concert to see it live. You had to buy the album. That's the only way you could obtain material. Nowadays, it sucks because, like you said, people don't buy art. People don't buy music. They don't buy my art. They want it for free. Everybody wants it for free.
Right.
Now, that's all fine and good, and I get that. But we are living in an era where if you want to do something, you can go to YouTube and learn how to do it. If you go, I want to learn how to carve Disney characters out of tree trunks, there's a video on it.
Yep.
And you have the capabilities to reach out to somebody like you and go, hey, man, let's work on this thing essentially together. We're not alone. We're social distance, but we still have the tools to go, hey, I'm going to create something for me. And you can't take it away. And you can reach an audience. And that's what I think is really cool. And I think it's taken a long time for people to kind of catch up with that.
Yeah. A lot of people keep staring at the bad things, and there. I mean, it is. There's a lot of bad things.
No, of course,
but,
yeah.
I mean, there is just a lot of creativeness that is coming alive right now, and people are really paying attention. And I mean, just last night I was watching the Supervillains, one of my favorite bands, and they were live down. They were just down the street at a bar that has it all set up for live streaming.
Yeah.
But I have seen the Supervillains live show more in the last 2 months than I've seen in person, because I hate going to bars. I hate going to that stuff like that.
Right.
So I get to sit there and I get to enjoy it from my couch or in the backyard or whatever. Like last night we were listening in the backyard, and I get to watch their show. I know it's not the best for them because they don't have the people there,
that's
and the
the tough
energy and
part.
everything.
Yeah.
But I love it because I get to see them, and they're such a fun crew to watch. But there's people like myself and the other podcasters where I created the podcast Super Show for that online event, and they're like, okay, when are we doing the next one? I'm like, whenever you guys want to, let me know. We'll figure out a time and we'll do because we had so much fun and caused so much chaos. I sat here and read. I have these cards. They're Ask the Internet cards.
Ooh.
And they're crazy questions. And I was just
fun.
rolling those off, and they would bring in topics, and it would just, oh my God, it was so funny and so fun, and we had a blast. And I hadn't laughed that hard in weeks, because that was the first, I think that was our first week of lockdown. and everything was looking so bleak and so bad. And I hopped on with it was With a Side of Chaos, What the Fuss podcast, and Funny to Informing podcast, and my face hurt after
That's good.
doing
That's
that
awesome.
show.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard.
Yeah. And let me for the people out there listening and checking this out. So we have as a merger episode,
Yes.
Back Talk with BAUER.
Yes.
And what would you say to somebody who doesn't know about your podcast and why they should check it out, of what you focus on, of like what's your and like what you got coming up?
Honestly, it's a lot like your show. I started mine right at the beginning of the Corona shit, just because I knew there would be nobody to go and talk to.
Right.
I was bored and lonely, and I wanted to keep up with my friends and talk with people. So it started with just sitting down, and the fan that I'm going to have on, Brian, this Tuesday, he was actually the first one, and we did the first episode on Instagram Live.
Oh, okay.
And then a couple people caught it, and they go, "You did really good on that. You kind of have a thing for that." I'm like,
Yeah.
Okay. So I decided to turn it into a more thing and more, and it just keeps. I keep basically I'll be talking to a random person. I'm like, "Hey, you want to come on the show?" So like the first guest on the official kickoff of the show, when it had a name and everything, was Amelia. Because I knew Amelia and I could talk really easy to each other.
Right.
Amelia,
That's what you want to do. Yeah. You want to start off with the people you can talk to comfortably.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was a little nervous, and I knew Amelia wouldn't take over. I knew Amelia would be patient with me, learning stuff and everything.
Right.
And we sat down and chatted for an hour, and it was awesome. The next one, and I've known Amelia for a few years now. The next one was a brand new person I met through CyberCon, Thomas Rochester.
Oh, okay.
And I've only talked to him. I talked to him before that show like once or twice in meetings, never one-on-one. Dude, we had a blast. That is probably one of my funniest shows, because we just kept going back and forth.
Is that the second episode?
That's the second episode.
I watched that one because you sent that to me when we were talking about doing this. That was awesome. That was fucking great.
Yeah, and it was just cool to chat with him. And then I'm hooking up with other podcasts, and it was the first crossover show with It's All Fine and Dangy. So I'm kind of just randomly getting with people. Like, I've had a couple people message me.
Slut.
Huh? Oh yeah, definitely a slut.
Randomly,
randomly.
No testing,
sometimes
or whatever.
And sometimes not.
Protection, forget it. I'm gonna talk to everybody. I'm gonna whore around in the podcast world electronically. You're gonna get a virtual disease instead of a venereal disease.
But it's
Is that a dad joke?
I've had a couple people ask "Oh, when are you gonna have me on the show?" When I feel like having you on the show.
Yeah,
there is no
plan.
Wait your turn. There is no. What's that?
I said, "Yeah, motherfucker, wait your turn. I'll let you know when I'm ready for you."
Yeah, well, and there's no set things to this. Even my times. Usually my show is at 7 p.m. on Tuesdays. This is kind of like the early start for it, this Saturday show, and then we're gonna do this Tuesday. I don't know if I'm doing the following Tuesday, because I don't want to be locked into something again.
No,
I was kind of with the artwork that wasn't fun.
You can do whatever you want with this, and that's what's really, really cool. And I think the hesitation for me at first was that, I see the joke of it all the time. You ever follow Overheard LA or Overheard New York or Overheard whatever on Instagram?
Mm-mm.
They have these pages. I'm sure there's Overheard Florida. There you go. Yeah. Terry's dropping some comments. Nice. It's like Overheard, but we have Overheard LA. It's on Instagram, and it'll be person says something, other person responds. And it's usually the stuff that is embarrassing and true, like inside jokes of the city. And one of them was Overheard LA, two girls talking at brunch, and she goes, "How did your date go last night?" And she goes, "Not well. Or she goes, "I don't remember. I took a drink every time he brought up his podcast." You know what I mean? And it's you see that, and it's everyone's podcast this, podcast that. We are kind of in this era, and that wave already kind of happened big time with comedians.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it was Sorry, listening to
You're just rubbing in that you have all that glorious hair, you dickhead.
it's no, it gets annoying. I can feel it itching on the inside of the headphones. Sorry.
It's so rough to have all this flowing
It's
hair.
a
You
blessing
bastard.
and a curse. I tell you what thing though. I went and oh god, chicks get mad at me all the time because they think I highlight it, and I have to tell them that I
Okay.
don't, because I don't know if you can see. I don't know if you can see right now, but especially in the summertime, I'll start to get this ombre look where the ends will get blonde. I don't fucking know.
My mom always, because you remember my mom's a hairdresser, so she's always like, she'll see a
Right.
picture of you or something, and she's like, "God damn, he has gorgeous hair."
What? Still to this day?
Oh yeah, because she follows you on everything. She'll
Right,
pop
yeah.
in every so often. She goes, his hair's just gorgeous. What the shit?
I do get a lot of people mad at me. The twins have the same thing, except they have short hair, but they do have thick hair. I think they might have thicker hair than me. They lucked out with a little bit of a different gene, but like I still have it I think anybody. It's funny. I just got my hair cut. The last time I got my hair cut was in December.
Right.
If you get a chance, I don't know if you saw, but I'm in the new Strokes music video. I don't know.
I did not.
You didn't know that? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I got hired as an actor to be in the Strokes new music video. They released a new album, and it's bananas good, by the way. It's really
Which song?
good. The song is called Bad Decisions. And if you get a chance, I got the gig doing it. And when I came in, they were like, we're going to hire you for the part of Nick, who's the guitar player in the Strokes, but you're going to have to shave, and we're going to cut your hair.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, cool. And I had no problem doing that.
I remember that picture.
That's what it was.
You look like a baby.
Dude, if you look up pictures of this guy, we look freakishly alike. It's weird.
That's
we look
insane.
except for he's like 6'5" or something like that, and I'm only 5'10".
Okay.
So I got the
love
gig.
the Strokes.
Yeah, I do. And the song is great. It's catchy. The rest of the songs are really good. It's like what you expect from them, but a little different. And so I get this gig, and they go in. We're like, okay, we're gonna cut your hair. And they have, ironically enough, like the lady was just like, "Are you ready for this? Because I'm gonna chop some shit." And when she did, I was actually a really big fan of it. I thought it worked really, really well to have. At first, I thought it was going to be super 70s. And if you look at those pictures I've posted, it does, in the first stage, it looks like that 70s show. And what they do now is do you know what the deep fake is?
No.
Deep fake is where, so they take me as the actor and they put Nick's face on my face.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's the deep fake, because I think, and so it needs the look. It looks weird. It looks off. But the point of the music video is that they're clones, and it's supposed to look a little Twilight Zone anyway.
Okay,
So that's
gotcha.
kind of how that happened. And that was just like a one-day shoot. And I was like, yeah, baby, the hair
That's
got
so
me a
cool.
job for a day. All right.
Damn.
But yeah. So where were we talking about before? I lost track.
I have no
Hair.
idea.
We went a little off on a tangent. I don't even remember where we were. Holy shit. I do that stuff all the time. I think but with the podcasting, I think that's why it's fun.
Yeah.
I like it when it goes off the rails. I like it when
Yes.
they go down a rabbit hole. And I think you and I are the same, where we could probably talk for 4 or 5 hours or whatever. Where are we at now?
Oh, yeah.
What time do we start? How far are we into this, bitch?
Well, my counter keeps changing time. So according to the counter at the moment, we've only been doing 11 minutes and 33 seconds.
Oh, yeah. It's
But I
totally
know
wrong
that's
for you.
horseshit.
We're at 1 hour and 37 minutes. We're doing pretty damn good. I thought so. No,
Yeah.
this has been fun, man. I've had a blast.
Oh, yeah.
Catching up and talking with you and everything. And yeah, I just, want to say, like, this is really cool that we're all doing this. We could probably wrap it up here. I think we covered a lot of great stuff.
So
and
I will.
I know it's getting
definitely
late for
bring
you.
for a part 2, because we got to talk about all the LA stuff, North of 9.
We
and
did
everything.
not
So
even
you
get into it.
definitely- Now, do you want me? Kayla found one more picture of us.
Do
you
it.
want it now, or do you want to wrap the show up?
Oh, don't do it now. I won't be able to sleep. Do it now. Let's see this.
So we've been talking about him so much all through the shows. We just had to bring him in.
Wait, pull that in closer. Who's that other dude?
That is you, me, and Skylar.
That's Skylar? Oh my
That
God,
is
that's
Skylar.
so funny. Oh, that's such a great photo. You have to send. I can't believe you have all this. You have to send me all this stuff. Just crop.
I'll start scanning them and sending to you.
Oh, that's so
here
good. I'm
too.
going to post this stuff online. It's so funny. I'm so glad you guys have all that. Dude, this has been an absolute treat. I really appreciate it. This has been
I have this weird I had this camera. I doubt you remember it, but it was like when I was still living in that house down the street from you. I had this weird camera. It was like a effed up Polaroid type thing.
Okay.
And it would print out these pictures that were like this big. I have a picture of you in the picture book over here. It's like stuck behind the glass. I'll send it to you.
Oh
I'll send you
God.
the scan of it. But it's you like when I first met you. The short hair and everything. The other one I didn't show. It was from the birthday party. There you go. So that is both your brothers, you and me.
Oh my God, I can't believe you have this.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh my God. Oh my God, that makes me so
my
happy.
wife says the picture of us and Skylar,
I can't believe you had this.
She took that picture.
Yeah, I just saw her comment. Yeah, I actually took that picture.
Crazy.
And oh my God, that's so fucking fun. I had a similar experience where I would have this camera and I would take selfies, but whenever I did, it would like all my clothes would fall off, and I would try to send them to people, but I would get fired from jobs and I would get blocked on the internet. It was just this very, very, very terrible and everything.
God.
If you're
Dark
times. Don't ever send naked photos of yourself as a guy. You will get in trouble. You'll be on a podium one day, and you will be fired from everything that you know. Don't do it. But no, dude.
Is that our PSA for the?
That's
for the
my
show?
PSA for this. Don't ever send the naked photos because they will get you into trouble. No matter what. That's my little life lesson for all you kids out there. No matter what you do. Here's what you do. You ask for permission, consent, ask again, have a lawyer present, write it down, have it on film, document it, get a notary, send it into the Pentagon. They'll get back to you in about 3 weeks, and you should be fine. No, I'm kidding. No,
if
that
you're
is
better looking. It's a little faster.
What's that?
If you're one of those, they take a little bit longer.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time. I'll tell you one thing though, man. I mean, like out here, especially with like the one thing I noticed with them. We'll wrap it up soon, but I noticed a big difference in dating in like Ohio and Los Angeles, because when you're in Ohio, I grew up with everybody going like, "Where's this going? Are we gonna get married? Why are you doing this? You can't go on tour." Da, 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 da. And then it's like I moved to Los Angeles, and it's like, "Whoa, we've only been together 6 years. I'm not ready to meet your parents now." And you're like, "What?" Like it's just everybody's into their career. They're an independent woman, but they want you to pay for everything.
See, I have.
I don't know how that works.
I have no.
I sound like such a dick right now.
Input on the dating thing because I've been with Kayla since we graduated.
I know. Yeah, congrats to you guys on that. By the way, it's quite an accomplishment.
In June, it will be 14 years together, and then in October it'll be 6 years married.
There you go. All right. Yeah, man. Oh, dude, people change relationships like socks out here. It's ridiculous. Can't hold anybody down, you know. All right, man, dude. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. Josh Bauer, J. Bauer Art, Bauer and Associations of Bauer and Bauer of Bauer, Josh Bauer, Bauer Ice Skates. I don't think there's any connection with that, but so if anybody out there is listening and you are a creative type of person and you want to make your artwork bitchin', you got to hit this guy up because he's awesome. He's an old dear friend of mine. We've known each other for what now? I don't know, almost 20 years.
At least 20.
At least.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
I think we met in at least 2000, 2001.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so it's been a minute. But, dude, thank you so much for having me jump on. We're going to do another part. Yeah, no, thank you, man. This is great. This is good on your part. You reached out to me. You got this ball rolling. Kicking ass. Yeah. We're going to do another part where we're going to talk about more LA fun stuff. Oh, the dirty stuff. Because I got some stories. I do have some stories, and they're a little nuts.
Oh man, it's probably gonna be a 2-hour episode. Just to warn everybody, we'll do it another Saturday, and it'll be a 2-hour episode.
Here's the thing.
So.
I'm fine with that. If you want to put our shows on, and even if you don't want to listen, just put them on. Give us the views. Have it on in the background. Who gives a shit? I don't know, like that. Or that's why I'm also doing clips. So if people want that option to see like a little bit and everything like that, but me, you're like me. We can watch Joe Rogan for 3 hours over the course of like a week. You know, like where you start it, stop it, then you start it again, and then da-da-da-da-da-da. So anyway.
If you're looking for a new one, you should check out A Mediocre Time with Tom and Dan. Those guys are funny as hell.
Really? I'll have to check that out. Send me their info and everything, and we'll get up on all this stuff and everything. I think we're going to wrap it up there. We're closing out Back Talk with BAUER and Michael O'Grady and the Creatives. Everybody stay safe out there, and make sure, wash your hands, be kind to one another, and don't send Josh any nude pics.
No.
All right, buddy.
All right. Later, guys.
Bye. See ya.